In today's episode, we bulldoze a rock, we build a new highway, and we stare at some sheep. Welcome to Macsville. So these are the most terrifying looking pigs I've ever seen. I don't know about you. Welcome back everybody to a brand new episode number 4 of this Macsville City Skylines playthrough. And today the reason why I'm starting with an overview of the industrial area is because we're going to be building our first farm, and also, if you look to your right, we're going to be changing and modifying the entrance to the city, as well as hopefully including some form of a highway that can keep us building and growing for the foreseeable future. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to be focusing on is we are going to actually build out a farm industrial area. I think that's going to be really important, and we're going to be able to figure out how we position that somewhere around here, and we can make this work. Okay, so after having a few minor setbacks and a couple of difficulties there with my machine and some issues with windowed screen mode, never mind, we are going to look at how we're going to build our farm. And I think to keep this fairly simple, I have an idea that basically the main road is going to just come through here when I build it. And then it's going to kind of veer. Is it at this point maybe that it's going to veer? Yeah, at some point it's going to kind of veer that way. And I think that's going to be a highway. And the reason for that is there's a whole host of other areas here, but also that might be able to go round and then link up again here by having an exit here and having an exit on that side of the river. So we'll end up with more connectivity from the road's point of view. But also because I think this is getting busier and busier as more and more traffic is coming in. So my idea is to turn these pieces into highways, just like it is over there. So it's going to be a bit of a spaghetti junction, but then it comes back into a highway. The highway will go above the roundabout, come along here, and then go all the way into our next tile. That's my plan, which will then allow us to have a small exit to here, the roundabout, which would be great. That'll allow people to get to town and to industrial areas there. But more importantly, it means that we can have the next set of junctions probably somewhere around here, maybe even a little bit further, a bit like here. And that will mean that all the industrial area that we're about to build should end up coming onto the highway from here. That's the plan. It sounds great, doesn't it? Like I really know what I'm doing. Oh, I don't know, but we're going to find out. So let's start by creating our new industrial area, because we do need some industry, and that is going to be my priority for today's episode. I'm also going to upgrade all the roads at some point, because we have got enough money, I believe, to do that now. So I'm looking forward to finally getting us into a position where we actually have real roads. Won't that be weird? Real roads. We're going to come up 15 here just to create a new section, but mainly because I'm going to try and keep this as like a main road so that we can then build other buildings that we need for the farm industry on this side, and more importantly we'll end up having everything that we need along here. So let's just quickly get this all connected. We're actually going to connect on this side as well, and we do have the ability to buy another tile, and I haven't yet, but I will, and we will look into how we do that next. But for now, here's the plan. We need an industrial area painted. So you can see here there's a little bit of fertile land. It's not the most that we'll ever have seen, but it doesn't matter. It will work for our purposes. I'm also noticing as well, we've got a good chunk of that fertile land kind of down here as well. So I'm thinking we might actually include ourselves a nice little area. Let's see if we can do this with a nice curve tool. I know, we could just buy that next unit, but for now, we're not going to. So what we're going to try and do instead is connect this up nicely. Because this is going to be industrial, I don't want there to be sharp edges. This will help with traffic, and that will play a part. So that's why I've done it that way. So first things first, we need a main building, which is going to go down here, and this opens up our farm areas. And we're going to keep this super simple for now, and we're just going to have a couple. Oh, look at that. I built this the right size. Don't you just love it when a plan comes together completely by accident? We're going to keep all traffic off that main road for now. And we're just going to have 5. Did I build 5? No, I built 4. Damn it. we'll have 4 crop plants, and these are mixture of greenhouse and other. And I've just realized, of course, we don't have any electric. So let's just see if that'll connect that up. Did that just miss? No, it didn't. Thank God for that. So we now have the start of our very first industrial area. And this is actually going to be quite important because industry is still being demanded. Obviously, we have growth. We want to keep growing the city, but industry is going to be one of the key pieces. And this kind of industry, and especially those pigs like we saw earlier, fine, it does the trick, it works, but look at some of these assets. I mean, what is this? Sunny grain, some solar panels. These pigs still terrify me. And what's even more terrifying is the pigs sound like chickens and cows, but they don't sound like pigs, and dogs in the background. We're going to build this area out, and I think it's going to be quite good if we get it right. And the only thing that we have available currently is the crops and then the animal pastures. And I know for a fact that the animal pastures are what gives us more money. So I think what we're going to try and do is make sure that we have some animal pastures in here. And we're going to have 2 of these animal based so that we can make sure that we bring in all the crops that feeds the animals, and then the animal products will actually end up creating more money for us in the long term. We also, of course, have the ability to chuck in a small warehouse. These warehouses do help in terms of just basically allowing people to move product and to keep the flow of products, and it'll also give us more trucks. So we're going to keep that balanced for now, and we're just going to go to animal products. I'm going to try and make sure that actually we keep this on empty for now, just because I don't want us to start importing. There's no need to import products when we're actually making them. And of course, we forgot our water pipes. Oh, electric. Let's see if we can make the electric jump that gap. We can. Perfect. So we'll keep an eye on this, but whilst this is currently getting itself set up, we're now producing crops. The output will then become where we can see money. We're going to see how those 2 things add up, but more importantly, we need to figure out how this road here actually becomes a highway, because if you look at that, this is now super busy. The majority of people aren't cutting across. Well, some of them are, so we will keep these connections, and maybe even there's a 3rd connection that goes there. But I'm trying to work out now whether we elevate the motorway, the highway, or whether we elevate the side roads. And I'm starting to think that maybe the side roads would be the ones that would be elevated because they would be cheaper. But also we've then got this massive roundabout in the middle, which I think is actually going to start causing problems. But it does have this nice big rock boulder in the middle, which makes me sad to have to get rid of that. Let's go on pause for a second, and I'm going to try something out. We will come back after one brief moment to have a look at how I can redo this junction.
Many hours later.
Okay, after what I can only describe as an absolute nightmare, and I don't even know if I'm going to keep it in as a time lapse or not. This has taken way longer than I would have liked it to. However, we now have a new entrance. As we now arrive into Macsville, we now have this huge kind of mess of a roundabout, but for now it's going to have to do, and hopefully it will do. Because what we've done is we've created a proper highway entrance, which now tracks the full length of Macsville to date, and more importantly has a couple of new entry and exit points. One in particular for the agriculture, because we're going to be exporting to try and hopefully make as much cash as possible. Also an importing an entry point from the highway as well. And then more importantly, we've got a couple of crossover points where normal day-to-day traffic will be able to carry on doing what they're doing. You'll see there that I built out some grids that go underneath those bridges, but this will just kind of give us an idea of where that land and area can go to. But I think, again, I haven't pressed play yet, I think even though it's not necessarily perfect, it will hopefully alleviate any kind of problems of that roundabout at the very beginning, just taking the absolute mass of traffic, especially if we slowly but surely bring the industrial traffic back down this way. And again, once we open up the next tile, we'll be able to do a proper junction area, I think, down here, so that we can have this industrial area going into there. And again, remembering that eventually we want to get rid of all of this industry. Let's go first person cam mode and see what happens when we arrive in our amazing city. So, whoa, there's a lamppost there, buddy. We get to this point. He hasn't taken the first exit to get off on that main roundabout, which is what I was really thinking about. And I wanted to see how much traffic actually does go all the way down to the industrial area. So we can see this has actually worked. The first one I chose at random, and you can see, look at how much traffic there is that comes with the industrial areas, and also especially the farm areas, which I think is going to be interesting, although these guys haven't gone to the farms. Of course not. Okay, so we see that that does actually work, and we are getting some traffic coming down here, which is absolutely great to see. There's one guy here coming down perfect to the actual animal pastures. This seems to be working. The crossover here seems to be working quite well. This seems fairly busy, but it looks okay currently, I would say. So I'm hoping that we are going to be all right in that sense. What has happened here? Why is that called? Oh, okay. Right, let's do some cleaning up around this, as this is a roundabout and there should not be crossings and the like down here. Okay, so what I've done here is I've fixed the roundabout, I believe. I've turned off all the pedestrian crossings across the roundabout and stuff, because that is madness. And what I believe we now have is also asymmetrical roads on either side. So we have 2 lanes coming off the roundabout, 2 lanes coming off the roundabout and going into the industrial estate. That'll just hopefully keep this traffic flow moving, and it seems to be working so far. I've set everything up like a roundabout, so anyone that's coming onto the roundabout has to give way. So that should also, in theory, make things smoother, let's say. And now we'll be able to get back to our industrial area and see just how we've been getting on. But before we go to that, what I have realized is when I was taking off all of these pedestrian areas around the roundabout, it actually showed that there was a lot of people that did really want to walk across. It's not that far a distance, I guess, and people would like the ability to be able to get them. So what would that mean, and what would that look like if we were to have a walking path? Okay, and once again, it's something that took way longer than I would have liked to, but it's okay. I had to try and find a way to cross over these 2 ginormous highways that are further apart than possibly necessary originally, but it's okay. We have managed to create a footbridge, and you can see already like loads of people are already taking that, and that's going to, I think, hopefully alleviate some of the traffic that's cutting across that roundabout. So we'll see how that continues to evolve. So back to our agricultural area, we are going to need a name for this. So somebody please leave something in the comments that I think is going to be fun, interesting, cool, or otherwise we'll just start naming it after our initial subscribers, because I think that's a nice way of saying thanks to you guys for watching this series. But as we look at this, we can see that so far we're doing about 20 tons of crops, 3 tons of which are going into animal products, and then of which the output is 0 tons currently. So that's not really ideal, and I'm not sure why that might be happening. So I'm going to let this play for a bit and just see if it speeds up a little bit, and also just see if this 0 full freight truck's in use. 3, that's fine. Agricultural areas going. We've got loads of crops, which is fine. I think we'll keep that to empty as well, just to make sure this keeps stocking up. And here we can see we've got animal products coming in. We're doing some sheep farming at the moment, which is great. So let's take a quick look at our sheep. Okay, so these guys are far less terrifying than the pigs were earlier on in the episode. But that noise is haunting. The echo on the sheep is terrifying. So here we go. I've just clicked into this to have a quick read, and now I can see that the output is 8 tons of animal products, and that's giving us about 1,200. So it's now suddenly creating a more profitable area. But I can see here, more importantly, the amount of crops that we are creating is currently about 8 tons, but 3 tons are going straight out on output, and 3 tons are being used for animal products. So I think what would be interesting is actually to see if we can get an additional animal pasture field up and running here. And again, a lot of this will get improved over time and will be sort of done differently. We've got electricity failing. Oh, okay, I know why. We're going to need another electrical plant, which is kind of upsetting because we're just throwing down. We've got 3 of these now, which are just hugely polluting our city currently. But again, all of this will change. We'll probably do that in one of the coming episodes because it will need to. And again, all of this industrial area I want to change as well. But whilst we're here, I think we might just do a little bit of maintenance. We'll double check. Oh, you see, glad I did. Our sewage is going to become an issue shortly. So let's get an eco inland water treatment plant, another one. Got too many of them. So we're definitely going to be looking at how we can fix that and move stuff around. And again, I really want to get away from are just huge amounts of pollution that's here, because that is just terrible. So we currently have more than enough electric, more than enough water. That's great. I'm going to quickly check in on garbage process. That's not good. Garbage production and garbage processing. So we don't actually have any processing because we've just gone with a landfill, and the landfill is now pretty much full. So our options are a recycling center and nothing else, because nothing else has opened up in the game yet. So I think that basically defines what we're going to be doing. I'm not saying I have OCD or anything like that, but obviously that made me feel a little bit better. So we're just going to keep those there for now. That's going to give us about 100,000. It still means we're not dealing with as much as we need to, because we're producing more than we should. The landfill is also full, which is going to be an issue. So we're going to have another landfill as well. Okay, there we go. We've got 2 more landfills. Now we're going to need this one to start emptying, but it's okay because we will eventually get the next level up, which will be an incinerator, which would help massively, but that's at 7,000. Next up on my list of things to do, what I have realized is that none of our roads are actually roads. And as the huge amount of money that has disappeared from the kitty that was used for this highway has now sort of come back, I think what I'm going to do... Oh my good God. Why does this area keep catching on fire? It was on fire in the last one. Goddamn fire is burning everything. So what I am going to do actually is, whilst that is happening, I'm going to have a quick look and see what our coverage is really like. So we do have one on that side. We have one up at the top there, but we don't really have anything else. So I'm wondering whether or not we can throw in a new fire station. And whilst we're here, we'll just quickly check the other services as well. Healthcare is doing okay. Death care, crematorium available, 0. Well, that's because we don't have crematoriums yet. Childcare, sick children and teens, 4, sick seniors, 0. So we're going to get a child health centre. So I think we're going to go somewhere around here. Yeah, education-wise, we've got elementary school. So we do have more people eligible. We don't necessarily need another high school, but we could be starting to think about a university because there's 1,400 people there. So let's stick to, first and foremost, an elementary school. This one looks quaint. I think we're going to have to just, again, some eminent domain. Going to remove that, and we're just going to have a small path going through. We're going to just double check our agricultural area. We're now making money. Fantastic. That's what we wanted. So the first thing I would say is actually we've done nothing about any kind of public transport, which I think is going to really help, again, just alleviate that pressure. And I'm thinking even one of the crossover bridges could be like a bus lane focused, so it would be able to be really quick and easy for buses to get over and onto each side. And we've got so many other things to do. So again, remember, we need a name for the agricultural area. I'm thinking some sort of a farm. That would be great. And just before we finish the episode, this is to say thank you to Steak Lover for his comment about, to make some areas better, we can use a bouncy castle. So I am actually going to follow his advice, and I've got an idea. Welcome to Steak's Bouncy Castle. Thanks for the idea, Steak, and I am going to try and use these in a little bit more often. But for now, thank you so much for watching. If you are enjoying this series, please do hit subscribe, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. Again, we're looking for names for things. We're looking for ideas of how to improve things. We've got a few more episodes lined up and a few more ideas lined up. But again, anything that you can help input into this series, I think would be amazing. So let's build Macsville together. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you soon.